It was Serbia and Montenegro, actually. A lot of people think, did we get independence from Serbia? Well, not really.
Serbia got independence from
yes. We both got independent.
When I left you in the latest episode, I was in Prizren in Kosovo. Now I'm heading west on a 300-kilometer bus ride to my next destination, still here in the Balkans. I'll cross the border twice on this bus trip. First back to Albania, then into a country I haven't been to before. Moving from place to place in this region is a good way to travel. Nice bus, easy and inexpensive. My name is Palabo. This is episode 175 of the Radio Vagabond. We're going to Montenegro.
This is the Radio Vagabond.
This episode is brought to you in part by this website called hotels25.com. If you're a regular listener, you have heard me mention this before, and I can't say this enough. This is a cool website. It helps you find the cheapest hotel rooms around the world. Hotels25.com. You should try it out. It actually works.
And when I go down to Main Street, I have to go this way. There's not a staircase.
Yes, I'll show you.
Okay.
I've planned 2 stops in Montenegro. The first being Ulcinj, a town on the southern coast of the country that I had a bird's eye view from when I was at Skanderberg Castle in Kruja in Albania. On Airbnb, I booked a place that was called New Cozy Apartment with a perfect sea view. And they most certainly kept that promise. See the links to the place and the pictures on the radiovagabond.com. I rented the place with Marco, a 24-year-old student of University of Tourism and Hospitality. And I think he already learned a few things because as an extra service, he had his father come pick me up at the bus station.
My sister, my youngest son.
Ulcinj has an urban population of just over 10,000, the majority being Albanians, and it's the center of the Albanian community in Montenegro. As one of the oldest settlements on the Adriatic coast, it was founded in the 5th century BC. At some point it was part of the Roman Empire and a known base for piracy. During the Middle Ages, it was under South Slavic rule for a few centuries. It's also been a part of the Republic of Venice and later the Ottoman Empire. Up until the Baltic War, it was obviously a part of Yugoslavia, and after that, a part of Serbia. So it's a place with a lot of history, and also a popular destination for tourists, partly because of its long beach, Lake Sas, Arabojana Island, and for its 2 millennia old Ulcinj Castle. And that's where I was heading soon after I'd settled in. But first, let me tell you a little bit about the country. Montenegro is a country in southeastern Europe on the Adriatic Sea. Like Kosovo, it's a small country, home to 622,000 people and only about 14,000 square kilometers in size, 5,300 square miles. So, about the size of Connecticut and way smaller than even my tiny home country of Denmark. It has a diverse landscape with rugged mountains, a narrow strip of beaches and coastal plains. Along the Adriatic Sea, there's a submerged river canyon called Bay of Kotor. On the coast, Montenegro has a Mediterranean climate. Winters are mild and wet, and summers are long, warm and dry. So it was unusual when I ran into a bit of rain one of these days. In the mountains, Montenegro has alpine conditions. It's cold and dry for the most of the year. Okay, that was a few facts about the country. A bit later, I'll give you some interesting, fun facts that might surprise you.
You can see pictures, videos, and links and read much more on the radiovagabond.com.
Ulcinj Castle, or Kalaja, is also known as Ulcinj's Old Town, and it's an ancient castle and neighborhood. It's built on a small peninsula at the right side of the Rana Gulf, which is a part of the Adriatic Sea. The modern city of Ulcinj is built outside the castle. This old town is one of the oldest urban architectural complexes on the Adriatic Sea. Some people feel that the castle resembles a stranded ship, and with picturesque, narrow and curved streets, typical of the Middle Ages, it's an absolutely fascinating place to walk around in as the sun is setting. It's packed with 2- and 3-story stone houses decorated with elements of the Renaissance and Baroque, and it's considered to be one of the most unique representations of medieval architecture in Montenegro. Now I'm at one of the restaurants where I'm going to have my dinner and a glass of wine as the sun disappears into the Adriatic Sea. I am living the good life.
The ultimate destination for armchair travelers who are looking for inspiration to get out into the real world and let loose their wanderlust. This is the Radio Vagabond. And now, facts about where we are.
Although it's known as a stunning summer destination because of its sun-drenched beaches, Montenegro is named for its mountains. The name comes from Italian monte, which means mountains, and negro, which means black. So Montenegro is the land of the Black Mountains. Speaking of beaches, Montenegro has 117 of them along a 293-kilometer coastline. There are rocky ones, sandy ones, tiny hidden ones, and glorious pink pebble ones. Montenegrins are known to be relaxed. In that effort, they have their own set of commandments to live by. Among them are, love thy bed as you love thyself. If you see someone resting, help him. And if you have the urge to work, sit down, wait, and you will see it will pass. Do you remember the James Bond movie, Casino Royale? It showed scenes of Bond and Vesper Lind sipping champagne on a train in Montenegro, gambling in Hotel Splendid's casino, and recuperating on a stunning seaside hospital in Montenegro. The scenes of this blockbuster movie put Montenegro firmly on the map, with thousands of people suddenly planning their next holiday in Montenegro. But it was not filmed here. Not a second of it. Montenegro's rail doesn't serve champagne. The casino was filmed in the Czech Republic, and the hospital scenes in Italy. Sorry. Something was filmed here though, but you probably haven't seen it. Way back in 1988, before Brad Pitt was a household name, he started his movie career right here in Montenegro. The Dark Side of the Sun was Pitt's debut as a leading man in a movie, and it was filmed in Kotor. He was paid a grand total of $1,523 for 7 weeks of work. The country must have made an impression on him, because in 2010, when he was married to Angelina Jolie, he went back to Montenegro to show her the beauty of this country.
And that was Facts About Where We Are.
So Brad Pitt filmed his first leading role in Kotor, which was where I was heading next. After 2 days in Ulcinj, I hopped on another bus, and mid-afternoon we arrived at Kotor main bus station after having driven along a stunning coastline for a couple of hours. It was really beautiful. I could see why Brad liked it, and I couldn't wait to get settled and go out to explore. So as soon as I got my bags off the bus, I headed to the hostel I'd booked. But they wouldn't take me, not even though I had a confirmation. I'd overlooked something that was written in fine print on the booking site. Mm-hmm. You know, the stuff that you never really read.
Here, it's right here. We only accept guests between 18 and 40 years of age. If you don't meet the criteria, we won't be able to check you in and you have to cancel your reservation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In small letters. Yeah.
Like I said.
Yeah.
What can I say except for
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Okay, I was just kicked out of the hostel that I booked. I booked it on Hostel World, and when he saw me, without looking at my passport, he said, "Oh, we do have an age restriction. You're too old." So they won't let me stay there. They have an age limit of 40. And, well, I'm older than that, so I'm too old to stay in that hostel. And it's the first time this has happened to me, but yeah, whatever. It looked like a nice place. And so does the old town of Kotor. It looks very, very nice here. So I'm walking towards another hostel that he recommended. A hostel for old people.
This had never been an issue for me before, and I've stayed at many hostels since my first try on this way of finding accommodation in Bratislava in the beginning of my journey. I must admit, my pride was a bit bruised, but it helps knowing that Brad also would be too old to stay at this hostel. Not that he would ever be caught dead staying at a hostel. Brad Pitt is actually a year older than me. Anyway, I made my way down the narrow streets of Kotor to the other hostel.
Montenegro hostel? Welcome. Thank you. I just came from the hostel I booked, Old Town. And they say, "Oh, you're too old. You're too old."
Yeah.
So apparently I can't.
We don't care about your age.
Apparently I can't hide that I'm over 40. So I hope you have a bed for me.
Yes. So over 40 is there a limit?
Yeah. And I said, "Are you suggesting I'm over 40? Really?"
They saw your ID.
No, they didn't. They
They
didn't.
didn't?
They just looked at my face and said, "Too old." I felt offended.
You're offended with reason. Maybe they have some of their own reasons for that.
Yeah, they said, "Oh, there's a lot of party going on here." I don't care.
When I got there was a 70-year-old man who was in the same position as me. He was angry. He said that he'd been arguing with the people at the other hostel for a long time. He said to one of the guys, "You see that hilltop over there? I'll race you up there, and if I get there before you, I'll get to stay here." But obviously that wouldn't work.
Travel is possible at any age. Your sense of adventure is just over the horizon. So, reach out and grab it. This is the Radio Vagabond. Gotta keep moving.
Okay, then I got checked into to the hostel, and that looks perfectly fine. Absolutely fine. This is a 10-bed dorm room, but in fact, I'm in a room that's sort of separate from the rest of the bunks. So maybe I'll be alone in there. There are only one bunk bed, so it's me and maybe somebody on top of me. But it's off season, so maybe I'll have the place to myself. There's not a door between this one and the other bunks, but at least there's a curtain. But it looks very nice, and it's in the old town here in Kotor in Montenegro, and this is a wonderful place. It's narrow streets, no cars, very old houses, of course, and right where I'm sitting right now, there's a cathedral built in 1166, so it says on the wall. Behind I can see a huge mountain, sort of like a back wall to this old town, and it looks absolutely wonderful. I was only planning to spend one night here before moving on to Bosnia-Herzegovina, but this is so nice, and right now it's 4:30 in the afternoon, so I just wrote to my next hostel in Mostar in Bosnia-Herzegovina to ask if they could postpone my arrival one day, and hopefully that's possible. Otherwise I'll have to leave early in the morning or pay for something I don't get. I booked this place for 2 nights, and so I'll have the day tomorrow to walk around and see some more of Mostar. It's very beautiful here. Right now I'm at a restaurant and just ordered some food. I don't really know what to call it because I didn't have breakfast and I didn't have lunch. and now it's 4:30, so it's kind of a late lunch / breakfast, but I'm starving, and they just brought me a nice big cold beer, and I really needed that. I'm in Kotor in Montenegro, and this is the Radio Vagabond podcast.
You can follow Palabo on his Facebook page. Join the conversation about traveling and being a digital nomad. You can also see pictures, videos, and stories that don't necessarily make it into the podcast. Simply search for the Radio Vagabond. And now, let's get back to the show.
The next morning I went exploring and to find a place for breakfast. Yeah, this morning I decided to actually get breakfast and not having a beer being my first intake of the day, even though it was in the afternoon. It was not the perfect sunny morning like I'd hoped for. Still, there were a lot of people in town, since a huge cruise ship had just arrived. I was surprised that a big ship like that would be able to make it in here. If you look at the map I put on the radiovagabond.com, you can see that the coastline here in Kotor is very unique. It's not out to the open sea, and ships has to pass through some very narrow waters in order to get in here. But it is possible, so the town was full of cruisers, and all the restaurant owners were smiling. A cruise ship like that is good for business. And the old town of Kotor is wonderful, and like being in Game of Thrones.
For 12 centuries already. This is the usual depiction of St. Trifon, with a feather in one hand and model of Kotor in the other hand. And he's that important to us that he's on our coat of arms on the flag of Kotor as well.
I've just been on a free walking tour here of the old town of Kotor, and one of the things that he told us was that the restaurants may sign with a price to lure people in, but we needed to be careful on what we actually ended up paying, because we could be paying extra for bread, or he even said cutlery, that we would have to pay for a knife and fork. And I just got the bill here, and well, I ordered a hamburger. It wasn't really a hamburger, it was a hamburger without bread. So it was just this round piece of minced meat, and some french fries was in the picture, and some salad. Then when it came, it wasn't a round piece of meat, it was kebab, but it was basically the same meat, so I said no problem. And now I got the bill, and I see that I have to pay extra for the french fries. And then there's something called posput. I don't know what that is, if it's VAT or if it is the knife and fork. I don't know, but I intend to find out.
Card, no, sorry. Problem of pallet.
Okay.
All cash.
Okay.
I'm just a little bit confused because when I ordered a hamburger, but I got the kebab instead. But that's okay; it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. But I saw the picture, and there was French fries in there, so I thought that was included.
Oh no, no includes. So you kept separate. Girl will say to you or not. Maybe you forget. I don't know. French fries.
Yeah, I can see that. But I saw this, and I said, yeah, this, and I thought, and I said, is this it? Yeah. Okay, but it's no problem.
Yeah.
But what is poputs?
That is tax.
Okay.
Tax.
Okay.
It's okay for French fries.
It's okay.
Thank you, sir.
Well, it wasn't the knife and fork. It was the tax, and the French fries was separate, even though they were in the photo. So yeah, never mind.
Back at the hostel, I sat down with the owner, Philip, to learn more about this wonderful country.
My name is Philip. Nice to meet you, Bo, and welcome to our hostel in Kotor.
Thank you, and thank you so much for taking me, even though I'm so old.
Well, as you can see, some rules in some hostels are very strict, so you're more than welcome in our hostel.
What offended me the most was he didn't even look at my passport. He just looked at my face.
Your face tells
that was kind of depressing. That was kind of depressing that I cannot pass as a 40-year-old anymore.
I think you need to shave yourself, actually.
Just did this morning.
It's like two days beard. I think you should be, You should use Nivea.
Maybe some plastic surgery.
Skincare.
Yeah, or maybe just deal with it.
If you hear,
What is
ladies
going
and
on?
gentlemen, if you hear this horn, It's a big cruise ship just leaving our city. It's MSC Musica.
And I went
very, very
and
huge.
I went down there this morning, and it is huge. We're in a fjord, or what do you call it?
It's a bay.
It's a bay?
We're Bocca Bay, actually Kotor Bay.
But it's quite narrow at some points.
It is.
And it's amazing that a boat like that, a big cruise ship like that, can get in here.
Well, I think the largest one was about 330 meters, the largest so far, with about 3,200 passengers. So like the most, the largest actually, largest so far.
And here in the old town, there are a lot of restaurants. Are they warned when a cruise ship comes in? Because I expect they are.
They're very
now
busy,
it's a busy day.
It's a busy day. Yeah, they probably shake their hands.
Yeah, already this morning I went walking between 7 and 8, and a lot of people was walking around in groups, all with raincoats, in fact, because what's this weather like?
Yes. They're probably expected some better conditions, but unfortunately today it's rainy. So they usually have a group of 30-40 people with a local tour guide, and they go through the city. Usually they have everything on board, actually. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner, even some drinks except alcohol. But some of them would like to try some local. I can tell you that the cruise I went on, it was including alcohol.
Including alcohol,
okay.
Yeah. So that was a tough week.
That was a tough week. Yeah, you probably get some kilos.
But let's just talk a little bit about this old town of Kotor, because when I'm walking around, I expect that there's a dragon around the corner. I feel just like I'm in the middle of Game of Thrones.
It's very interesting about the history of the city. Nobody knows actually how old it is, but we all think it's about 15, 16 centuries old. Very interesting is also fortification complex. You can see actually it was
15,
built
16, but the church is even older. We're next door to the cathedral. It's 1166 is written.
1166, 12th century. Yeah. So maybe we think it's old about 15, 16 centuries, which means about 5th century that it was built.
Okay.
Old 15th century. Yes. The cathedral, as you said, it's 1166, and it's even older than Notre Dame in Paris. Please don't be offended, dear French guys and girls. It's very, very interesting, worth visiting, of course. But unfortunately, we had some troubles with earthquakes during our history. So the old town actually was not saved in a previous condition, of course. It was rebuilt by after the last earthquake in 1979. But still, some churches are gone, some palaces are gone. Of course, not from that earthquake, from the previous ones. So now, of course, there's a lot of things to see. I always say Fortress of St. John, because I think it's absolutely stunning view from the top.
That is. Can you describe what it is? Because it's in the mountains right next to where we are.
That's true. To the castle, or to the Fortress of St. John, leads about 1,300 steps. On halfway there is a Church Lady of the Health, about 650 steps to the church, and the Fortress of St. John was actually the defending fortress. A lot of people tried to of course own our city. Some of them of course did it. Ottomans did not. We remember from our history, Barbarossa, Admiral, he tried to won the Kotor with 200 ships, but he failed. Lucky he failed. So Napoleon was here, Russians were here, of course Venice and Austro-Hungary. So it's a big influence of those countries, especially Venice and Austro-Hungary, in architecture, even in language as well.
So there's a lot of history, and it dates very, very far back. But Montenegro as a country is quite new.
That's true. 2006 we wanted independence. It was Serbia and Montenegro, actually. A lot of people think, did we get independence from Serbia? Well, not really.
Serbia got independence from you.
Yes. We both got independent from that state. So 2006, Montenegrin people voted 55.5 for yes for independence.
And it needed 55% votes in order to have the independence.
Yes.
That was so close.
Yes, it was very close. First of all, it was 50 plus 1, for example, but somehow they changed it, so it was 55.5 at the end. So we are like brand new country, but we must say that 1878 we got independence of Ottoman Empire after Berlin Congress, so it's not actually the first time that we were independent, so we got back our independence, let's say like that.
Why was the referendum so close? What spoke for it and what spoke against it?
Well, as you can see, people voted different. We could say 55 for yes, 45 for no. Some people thought there was a better opportunity if we stay together in a country like Serbia and Montenegro. Some people thought that it's much better to just have independent state and decide all alone about all decisions and the way we will go. So I think also some identity problems as well. Some people consider them as Serbs, some of them as Montenegrins, and some of them, of course, as Yugoslavs because of the old communism regime and Josip Broz Tito. So I think all in general, when you collect everything, 55.5 against how much it's 44.6, right? No, 44.5. I think it was real actually. So it was.
So how's it been? If there was to be a referendum today, do you think the vote would be different? Are the Montenegrin happy about it, or do they feel it's a mistake, like some British in Brexit?
Yes. Well, I'm not sure about the whole Montenegrin citizens, but I can speak in my name, of course. I think it is better to be independent, but I disagree with this road that the government of Montenegro decided to go. I would change a lot of things, and I would need probably about 1 hour to explain all the things I would change. So independence, yes, but on this way, no.
You have the euro here, but you're not a part of the EU. Is that an ambition to join the EU?
That's true. If I remember well, 2002 was the year when we accepted euro after Deutschmark and dinar, which was local currency, now used in Serbia as well. We're joining EU. That's how it seems. We applied. I think in 2007, just a year after independence. So we're still waiting probably until 2000.
Yeah, but Croatia made it, so why
Croatia
not?
made it, Croatia made it, and they use kunas. So the currency didn't change, and we are not part of EU, and we use euro.
Well,
welcome to Balkans.
We are a part of EU and Denmark, and we still have the krona. We don't have the euro. So talking about Denmark is a very small country, and I feel so proud that we're way bigger than you. Yeah,
we are extremely small. 13,812 square kilometers, and about 630,000 people. So
you're not even 1 million.
Not even 1 million. But if you count Serbia, then probably over 2 million.
Why would you?
A lot of people from Montenegro actually moved to Serbia.
Oh, that way. Okay.
Yes. Well, the origins of we make a joke. Probably about 30% of Serbia origins are from Montenegro, probably of the Serbian population. So we believe that in Serbia and Bosnia and all the other countries of ex-Yugoslavia, and don't mention the rest of Europe and the world, probably there is about 5 Montenegros right now. So probably about 3 million people altogether. But unfortunately, in our country, only 630,000. I mean, unfortunately, I would like to be more of us.
But it is so beautiful. I was in Ulcinj a few days ago, yesterday in fact, and was the whole drive up here is like
spectacular.
Well, the coast is only about 290 kilometers. It's not so big, but I think it's worth visiting because a lot of things you can see. For example, in Ulcinj, the southern city of our country, we have a long beach or great beach. It depends how different names. It's 12 kilometers long, and it's second largest in the whole world. So
the largest is?
Yes, of course, Brazilian Copacabana.
But I challenge you on that one. I don't know if we should mention it here, but when I was in South Africa, in the southernmost tip of Africa, Agulhas, they were bragging about having a 14 kilometer.
14?
So maybe we have to do the measuring.
I must talk with my professors in the tourism faculty.
Yeah.
That's how we learn.
Don't tell them. Don't tell them.
Yeah, maybe.
A third place is not as good as a second place.
The bronze medal is not so
but
so shiny as
but still, silver is number one of the losers.
Yes.
The Radio Vagabond. Gotta keep moving.
Do a lot of tourists find their way to Montenegro, or is that a part that will grow in the coming years?
I think we will grow from year to year. So probably a lot of people are actually, let's say, refreshing their list of priorities when they talk about trips. So I think Montenegro will be very soon in the top of their list, just because it's easy to come here. There is a good connections with flights with the whole Europe, even in the world, by plane, by boat, by car, by train,
by bus.
By bus. I hate buses.
That's the way I do it.
Yeah. I mean, everything more than 2 hours for me by bus, it's too much, really. I don't like buses, really.
We're so spoiled. But
yeah.
But the cruise ship might work.
The cruise ship, of course. Yeah. The cruise ship is something different, very different feeling. About 150 cruises during the season.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
Let's say about 2 or 3 average. Yeah. It's a lot.
But if people want to go to a country here in the Balkans that is not totally overrun by tourists now's the time to go, because it might change.
Well, I always recommend for whole Montenegro about a week, because from the southest point up to the northest point it takes only 4 hours, and in those 4 hours you can visit actually the sea, 2,500 meters peak Bobotov Kuk on the Durmitor mountain, which I think it's the amazing, one of the highlights of the whole Montenegro. You can do rafting in Tara, second deepest canyon in the world. Now you cannot tell me nothing, that's for sure.
I am not going to challenge you on that one.
It's a Grand Canyon is the first, Tara Canyon is the second, about 1,300, maybe some meter more, but
I went to a place in Taiwan that was pretty...
Stop!
Toroko gorgeous. That was pretty deep. But no, I don't have the numbers, but I trust you completely.
Yeah. No challenges on this one.
No.
So the Tera is absolutely stunning river. Rafting could be 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. It depends on the route. Žabljak with the... I think city on the highest point in whole Europe, but that's also something what I heard. I need to check. I need to check that. Žabljak is very interesting, especially during the summertime, because the temperature is not more than 26-27 degrees, which is very, very good. If you consider that here in Kotor or Podgorica capital could be about 46 Celsius. So a lot of locals also for the weekends they go to Žabljak to refresh themselves, because it's very nice climate. Even in the evening could be lower, so you need something to cover with actually during the sleep. And of course from Žabljak you can come to the seaside. Before, of course, in central region you have Cetinje, old royal capital, and a lot of museums and history of Montenegro. And on the seaside, of course, from Ulcinj, you visited up to Herceg Novi, city closest to border to Croatia. You can see a lot of things, about a bit less than 300 kilometers, but very, very interesting beaches, interesting historical places, cities like Kotor, Herceg Novi, Budva, Old Bar. So there is plenty of things to do, plenty of things to see, really.
And if people are looking for a nice place to stay in Kotor, I highly recommend this hostel, and it's easy to remember. It's just Montenegro Hostel.
Montenegro Hostel, B&B, or bed and breakfast, how we call it.
Okay. And I just want to finish off by thanking the Montenegro football team for not beating us in the qualifying, so we are going to Russia.
Damn!
Thank you so much, and I enjoyed being here.
You're welcome, you're welcome.
You can find Montenegro Hostel B&B on hotels25.com. No matter where you're going, it's a website that helps you find the best prices on hotels and guest houses and hostels all around the world. I put a link to Montenegro Hostel in the show notes, and if you go there and meet Philip, say hi from me.
And that was it here from Montenegro. Tomorrow I'm moving on further north to Bosnia-Herzegovina, and I'm so looking forward to that. My name is Palabo, and I gotta keep moving. See ya.
Produced by RadioGuru.co.uk.